Hello, I'm Jack Rickard. This is EVTV again. And I'm here with my compadre and consigliere, El Breno Noto.
We are here, and it is Friday. After a spectacular storm last evening here in Cape Girardeau.
It was, but a pretty day today, and it's
beautiful.
October. I'm going to put up the October photo.
October surprise?
Yes, and we'll go from there. It's a great week for electric vehicles. I've been getting my ass kicked.
I've been watching it. He deserves it every once in a while.
Been one thing another, but it's a lot of things happening. I can feel the whole aircraft carrier coming around. All the OEMs are now not bad-mouthing electric vehicles. They're going into the "we are electrier than thou"
and we're probably the first ones, right?
And in fact, technically, we did invent it, each and every one of them.
That's right.
After Elon's had to drag them by the hair through the streets.
Kicking and screaming.
They've invented it. It is just too precious. What do you want to talk about first?
Well, we can talk about, I guess they did sell some electric vehicles last month. I mean, we don't want to belabor the numbers, but sales are up and down like any vehicle, and we're up to almost 74,000.
Well, that
including the
includes
Ford.
all the plug-in hybrids and
the Ford
some
isn't
electric
in.
bicycles.
Ford's not in here and stuff, so that's probably a pretty good number.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're in here for 7,000, so 60-some thousand maybe cars total.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad.
What did we do in October?
October did 7164, and that's with all of the Ford, Fusion Energy and the C-Max out of there.
Well, Ford's having a little problem.
Yes.
And, this is the response of corporate America. There have been numerous reports over the months of the Ford Focus lighting up a light informing the driver it was safe to stop, which was very fortunate that the car had that opinion in spite of the traffic as it rolled slowly to a stop and nothing could be done to encourage it to go forward.
Motivate any longer, yes.
And whatever the traffic situation was, in the car's opinion, it was safe to stop.
Yeah, there you go.
And people have been reporting this for months. They finally announced a recall, which gave us a number that I thought was surprisingly high. They've been doing well with the car.
Yes.
2,600 Ford Fusions have been recalled for this little problem and a software upgrade.
You need an
on
upgrade.
The controller.
Oops. Yeah, that is good, though, that we got a number, at least, that Ford is willing, and I guess they had to report that.
Yes, Tesla still doesn't actually report numbers.
No, they kind of make them up. So what we're looking at, they're saying 800 Model S is delivered is what everybody thinks for this month. But who knows?
For October?
For October, yeah. Yeah, but it's hard to tell.
It is hard to tell.
Yeah, it's really difficult to tell.
It's been a great week for Tesla's stock if you're a buyer and looking for a pullback. There was a bit of a second fire in Mexico, and I have just a little bit of clip of the car actually burning.
Oh, okay.
Burn. And that's yikes. So and the market's so twitchy, and the stock is of course in a bubble, but I think it's a bubble that has a lot of ways to run. Buying with both hands, pending their November 5th earnings announcement coming up next week. And I think we're going to have some very happy news from Europe.
I think so.
From China and on the production front. And meanwhile, they continue to execute. I guess I've been a little anxious about the rollout of the Supercharger network, but they have now announced that you can go from San Diego to Vancouver on the Supercharger network, and 97% of the population of California is within 200 miles.
I could imagine that, yes.
Along what the coast. I was impressed with was they opened 3 in a month, and that was in Corning, Mount Shasta, And up in Grants Pass, Oregon.
Yes.
What's the total number they have now?
31. There's
31 superchargers. We noted last week or the week before the opening of one in Columbia, Texas. And so it's slow and measured, but they do
But they're
appear
doing
to
it.
be opening
Yeah, they're doing it.
the thing. So, very cool. And I think that's going to be a big deal, certainly on the West Coast. Now you can travel at will up and down the coast
Yes.
on an electric car.
And I think that they're going to think one of the next moves that they're going to try to do is Phoenix, so that then you can get to Phoenix over to the West Coast and then go up to go up north. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
As long as they're making progress, I can't really fault it.
No.
What was the thing about it's now the hot selling car, the top
Yes,
selling car?
the top selling car in 8 of the richest zip codes. So Forbes has their list that they do of the zip codes, and I guess Edmunds put it against the sales in those zip codes.
The top 25.
The top 25, and the Model S is the best-selling car in 8 of the top 25 wealthiest zip codes.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of amazing. They're located, a lot of them, around Silicon Valley.
I told you it's going to be a fashion statement.
Yes.
You can't not have one.
Right. Yeah.
And guess who can't not?
Oh, that's what I read. Huh?
Stephen Wozniak
Yes,
took
that's
delivery
right.
of his Model S this week.
He did.
And I'm going to put up something we've been working on to show you. This is not actually a Elon Musk bobblehead doll. It's a bobblehead doll we had done of Charlie Priest, our maintenance man.
Yes.
These bobblehead guys are a little loose on the caricatures.
Yeah, some of that
It
3D
does-
modeling.
I don't think it looks anything like Charlie. Do you? I'll put up some photos of Charlie so you can see. I don't think it looks like Charlie at all, but some say it looks a little bit like Elon Musk. But
Imagine that.
I guess those things are all subjective.
Yeah, it depends from your perspective.
It
Yes.
depends on, it's in the eye of the beholder.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, so there's that. But as always, we start the show talking about Tesla.
We can't help ourselves.
Tesloids.
Yes, that's right.
I still like the Model S. It's a good car. Two of them have burned up. Everyone's in a panic and allowing me to buy December 225.
Yes.
Very right.
Yes.
But the truth is, there's 785 cars a day in the U.S. burst into flames, sufficiently so that the fire department is called. That's how we know this number.
You call out the big red truck.
The ones where people put it out themselves, they pretty much, we don't know about that.
That's right. Everyone takes a can of beer. Yeah.
Right. But if you have to call the fire department, they fill out a report.
Yes.
And it looks like a little over 700 cars a day. So don't get too wrapped up in the meanings of the vehicle fires. Now, I've never liked their battery chemistry. And it's, as we've shown on the TV, a very well armored battery pack. But if you bust it,
Yeah. There it goes.
I whacked one of those Panasonic cells with a hammer and shot a flame about 3.5 inches.
Did you?
Across the room. They're like a little blowtorch if you hit them with a hammer, but you're not supposed to do that. That's Panasonic's position.
And they did a deal with them. I guess they're going to get another almost 2 billion batteries from Panasonic.
Isn't that something? They were talking to Korea
Yes.
about a Samsung about second sourcing them, and I guess Panasonic found additional capacity.
Some capacity and maybe a little movement on the price or something,
4 years, 2 billion batteries. That's what, maybe 1,400 cars a week.
That's
a little under.
That's a lot of cars.
It's quite a few cars.
Yeah.
I think they're going to sell.
Yep.
And I think they probably will too. Again, the Model S is absolutely a luxury car for the well-heeled. I've been saying for 4 years that's how to go after the electric car market.
And you know who thinks they're going to go after the electric car market in that space?
Who?
Cadillac.
Cadillac.
They're kind of getting the El Mirage. They're getting a little more serious about all this electric vehicle stuff.
Do tell.
Isn't that something?
I think and have thought, if you want to pick a number 2, it's not Cadillac, it's BMW. They're starting to look like a good stock investment.
Yeah, BMW, I think, is going to make a good play. Yes.
They're pretty serious. VW is the one I love to pan because they...
And we love VW, too.
Well, we do.
I know. Come on, guys.
I mean, these guys have
Don't make
been
it so
like
easy.
our heroes for years. It's the poor man's Porsche. And you know what? I'm kind of coming around. I saw a little thing put out by Volkswagen
Okay.
about their battery research today that one of our readers or viewers sent me a link to. And I'm going to rip it off and include it in our show right here.
Right now.
And you will find some things in this remarkably, eerily reminiscent of some of my green wall work on lithium batteries. Let's take a look. It's actually kind of long, but I want you to see this. It's quite, I haven't seen any OEM do anything like this.
All right. Take a look.
The Volkswagen EUP. Electric mobility for everyone. Its 150-kilometer range is enough for city drivers and commuters alike. And in the future, power for the battery will not only be available at modified gas stations, but also at the next charging station around the corner. The EUP battery contains some 200 cells, each one provided with a negative polarity, the anode, and a positive polarity, the cathode. Between them lies a separator. Free-moving lithium ions are stored in the cathode between layers of metal oxide. Their number is decisive for determining the range of the vehicle. While the battery is charging, lithium ions flow out of the cathode to the anode, where they're stored in a graphite structure. Here they absorb electrons. The battery's so-called volumic energy is important for electric vehicles. The more free lithium ions found in the cathode during charging, the more can be stored on the opposite side in the anode, extending the range of the electric vehicle. The EUP is made for city traffic and can accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 11 seconds. This dynamic handling is thanks to its light weight, a 60 kilowatt strong electric motor, and the battery. The battery not only contains a high level of volumic energy, it also has an adequate level of energy density. When the driver steps on the gas pedal, an extremely high number of lithium atoms send electrons to the anode. The free electrons then travel through the transmission lines, driving the motor. The more lithium ions quickly flow from the anode, the more free electrons are available for electric drive, giving the car its kick. But at the same time, they also have to penetrate the cathode. Only if the cathode can absorb a lot of lithium ions fast enough does the EUP reach its full potential. But this quick ion exchange is not only needed for acceleration. It's also necessary when the battery has to suddenly absorb a lot of energy in an extremely short period of time. A full application of the brake should use as much kinetic energy as possible in a process known as kinetic energy recovery. The electric motor now serves as a generator. That means it transforms the braking energy into electric energy instead of heat. The anode has to absorb a high electric charge within fractions of a second. In the EUP, it can store on average up to 90% of the kinetic energy as electric energy. Experts at the Volkswagen Technology Center for Electric Traction are researching these efficient batteries. But there are major challenges in the years ahead. The vehicle's range has to be extended, and that means the electrodes have to absorb a higher number of lithium ions. But the cells shouldn't age too quickly. That means the battery has to securely withstand numerous charges and discharges. Only then can the price of the battery fall, increasing the number of electric vehicles on the road. Before the EUP went into production, scientists tested its battery in a special laboratory. The researchers used special climate chambers for the tests, allowing them to constantly charge and discharge the batteries at temperatures ranging from -30 to +90 degrees Celsius. This provides the scientists with important data on everyday battery use. Months or even years before the first EUP models head to the garage for maintenance, the Volkswagen Testing Center has been collecting data on the everyday performance of lithium-ion cells used in the first series of VW electric cars. That optimizes maintenance and guarantees the original driving range over the long run. But the work of researchers delivers even more. At the research center, they also test other forms of lithium cell construction, like these so-called pouch cells. Some of them have a higher energy density, promising an even greater range. One problem until now was the long-term density of the cells, but that has been improved in recent years. To test the everyday capability of these new cells, scientists simulate a load of 100,000 kilometers in a climate chamber. That involves charging and discharging the cells 6 times a day over a period of 2.5 months, using different chambers at varying temperatures. The temperature has a major influence on the ability of cells to store and release electrical energy. A sharp deviation from the standard measurement produces a signal. The measurements show that during heavy charging and discharging, the cell capacity is more rapidly reduced at -20 degrees than at normal surrounding temperatures. Scientists research the cell on location. In an autoclave, they cut open the cell and break it down into its individual components. A protective gas in the transparent chamber ensures that no unwanted chemical reactions take place. That would falsify the results. The electrode materials are applied onto an aluminum or copper film. The scientists take a sample of the anode material and bring it immediately to the lab. Here they mount the sample on a scanning electron microscope, or REM, and move it into the light path. The REM magnifies the mounted object hundreds of thousands of times. That means the anode surface is displayed in nanometer resolution, almost at the molecular level. The researchers are hoping to find out what causes the loss of capacity. The cold temperature in the climate chamber reduces the speed of the lithium ions during the charging process. That makes them flow more slowly through the electrolytes to the anode. As a result, the lithium ions and the electrons don't initially collide in the grid. They neutralize each other on the surface of the anode instead. That produces elementary lithium, which separates in layers on the anode surface in a process known as lithium plating. That means the lithium ions can no longer penetrate the graphite structure of the anode and absorb electrons. The capacity of the entire cell or battery is thereby reduced. The scientists can clearly recognize this process in the REM images.
To solve the lithium plating problem, you can imagine the battery cells being slightly warm during the charging phase. We knew about this even before the battery cells were built into the mass production vehicles, and we passed this knowledge on to our developers in order to ensure the long operating life of the cells.
The scientists work hand in hand with the developers. That means the development engineers receive important indicators even before there are problems with the charging process. Such knowledge is useful for more than just pure electric vehicles. Other electric vehicle concepts, like the plug-in hybrids, also benefit from the research results. But the Volkswagen researchers are thinking even further ahead. They're experimenting in their laboratories with brand new materials for the next generation of electric vehicles, and the generation after that. For the cathode, they're mostly examining over-lithiated metal oxide, and for the anode, a silicon-carbon composite. These materials promise substantial range increases.
Materials are the basis for batteries, of course. In the future, we're hoping to store more lithium ions in the anodes and cathodes in order to increase cell capacity.
The scientists don't confine their research to conditions in the lab. New materials are already being tested in industrial production. One example is a joint venture between Volkswagen and Varta Microbattery. During the production process, chemicals have to be applied as evenly as possible over the film. Here, too, engineers are researching the production process. After the application, the film covered with the electrode material undergoes a long drying process. Finally, a gamma emitter measures the layer's thickness. It can only be 100 microns, or 1/10 of a millimeter thick, and deviations must be within 0.002 of a millimeter. Scientists at the Electric Traction Technology Center are making cells with these new electrodes. First, they place a cathode with the over-lithiated metal oxide into a capsule. The substance promises a greater distance range. Then comes the separator, followed by an anode. Finally, the capsule is screwed shut, provided with an electrolyte, and installed in a climate chamber. How does the new cell respond? The researchers are entering uncharted territory. The new cathode material is applied much like it was with the previously used cells. Free-moving lithium ions are found between layers of metal oxide. They are responsible for carrying the charge within the cell. But free lithium ions are also found in the metal oxide layer of the over-lithiated material. That means the energy density is higher, providing around 40% more ions for the charge transport. When the cell is charged, more lithium ions flow to the anode. And they absorb more electrons within the anode. When the battery is discharged again, that means more electrons are available to drive the motor. Theoretically, the cells must now have a higher capacity. That's why scientists monitor the current measurement readings. They compare the charge and discharge cycles of conventional cells with cells made out of the new material. The results are clear. An electrode with over-lithiated material possesses around 1/3 more charging capacity compared to an electrode with conventional material. That should substantially increase the driving range of an electric vehicle provided with this technology.
New battery technologies are extremely important, and that explains the research. We need new leaps in innovation, not only with electric vehicles, but also with the plug-in hybrids, in order to reach new and higher ranges. We've already accomplished a lot in the area of lithium-ion batteries and in technology, but we need even more research in this area because we want to explore totally different materials in order to reach farther and greater ranges.
Through its research work on the next generation of cells, Volkswagen has gained important knowledge for automobile development. Research also allows scientists to make assertions about the materials and production process for future generations of cells. And that's not just an advantage for the EUP. Other models also profit from the knowledge and research at Volkswagen. And that means a variety of Volkswagen electric cars with a much greater range will soon be seen on the streets.
Batteries?
Man,
to Volkswagen.
that was pretty E-up.
And did you see that blonde in the lab?
Oh, yeah.
There's a reason they're at the top of the heap.
That's right. You gotta love it.
You do. The only thing I'll say is they kind of talked around the idea of lithium ions in the anode magically absorbing electrons. It's a fine point. Maybe you don't need to know, but I've always thought it was kind of important that you understand that it's not a chemical process exactly like what happens in a lead-acid battery. There is no covalency in the anode. The lithium ions do not combine with the electrons. They do not absorb anything.
Okay.
There is, in the crystal matrix, 2 planes of carbon that let free electrons flow rather easily.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Our mission is to store electrons in the anode.
Yes.
And they, of course, have a charge that repels each other, so you very quickly fill up the copper plate. Where can you store the electrons and not have the voltage go through the roof? That pressure. 2 octagons, top and bottom. Electrons in both of them. 1 lithium ion can be suspended between them, and its positive charge partially neutralize the negative charge of an electron on the top
Okay.
and an electron on the bottom. Now, are the electrons holding the lithium ion in position, or is the lithium ion holding the 2 electrons in position? It's kind of, again, a little bit of subjective. Is it Charlie Priest, or it depends on if you're looking at it at the point of view of the electron
that's right.
or the point of view of the lithium ion.
Yeah.
But your mousetrap is assembled.
Yes.
The lithium ion is held suspended. You know, I've used the example of those balls with the magnets that that's like a science fair toy.
Sure, yeah.
You can buy them.
Floating, yeah.
They have them on YouTube all the time. The ball is hanging in the air. There's a magnet on the top, magnet on the bottom. Electron on the top, electron on the bottom, both negatively charged. Positively charged lithium ion in between, which one does it go to?
Right, okay. Yeah.
And the carbon kind of acting as the structure for all of this. And so that's where the lithium ions are intercalated into that crystal matrix. And so that's how it works. But they don't. Do they absorb? The lithium ions don't absorb anything except they neutralize the charge.
The charge, yeah. Yeah.
And so the electrons are bound there. They've been absorbed into the anode.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you have stored some.
Right.
And in canceling their charge, you can have more.
Yes.
So that's the whole concept, really, is to store electrons in that anode. So that's the only weak area, but their graphics were great.
Pretty amazing.
Their research was looked fantastic, and the reason I played 20-something minutes of Volkswagen PR is one of the questions we have consistently, and our viewers have, is our kind of vague but firm assertion that you shouldn't charge below freezing.
Oh, yes.
And they actually demonstrated exactly what they found when cycling batteries at 20 below zero, lithium plating on the anode, which is what we've reported.
Yes.
But the literature on this is a little wispy. That was the theory. They have caught it in the act.
They got
and
it
took a picture of it.
Yeah, doing it.
It is lithium plating. Now, they're still a little vague. The cold slows down the travel of lithium ions, a dubious concept.
Slows down.
Lithium ions know they're cold, and so they move more carefully, or
they're a little sluggish.
Yeah, I'm struggling with this, but
not a bad video overall. Yeah.
But that we know what does happen.
Yes.
We can then move into why that happens, and I think that was the question they were bringing up. But a great video with great graphics, and hopefully that extends your understanding of batteries. I kind of went off into that. You've still got news.
Oh, just the last thing, and I'm always looking for the race news and stuff. So there is a 6th team now signed up for the Formula E. So this is the second from Asia. Aguri Suzuki, who is actually kind of a legendary Formula One driver and team owner from the late 80s, early 90s. They are putting the 6th team together. They're taking 10 teams. The races will start in 2014. So I'm going to be pretty excited to see.
They're kind of announcing a new team a week.
Yeah, no, it's starting to gain.
They're going to get there.
Yeah, it's starting to gain. They've got all the venues, and I think now they're going to 4 more teams. I think they've got it.
The let's see, the Ford Focus, the Volkswagen. Any more news in your pile?
That's really about it. I think we kind of covered the news.
I want to put up Anna Klupenberg then, and a little prop discussion from Boatland. It's brief, but I found it kind of interesting. He's starting to talk and show the actual connection. This is the thing I think most people, I certainly struggle with mechanically. How do you hook all this up?
Right. Yeah.
And he talks about props and makes some predictions. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with the boat when he gets this new prop. Let's take a look.
Hey, EVTV. We're here in Amsterdam with New Electric and the EVTV EU warehouse. It's time for a little update from us. Had our first little bit of internet fame with the New Electric video that premiered on EVTV 2 weeks ago. We got quite a little bit of attention from that first little debut video of electric boating, power boating from Amsterdam, including the problem. Also, we got our first little bit of internet exposure on the Autoblog Green. We had a great little piece there written by Dominic of Autoblog, and he is also the editor that has often debuted some EVTV or EVCon media on the Autoblog. Anyway, so that was a great boon for us and really gave us some nice hits on the video. It will, of course, be a part of our showcase on the website and the YouTubes for the years to come as a debut for our boats and work. Well, I'm here in the new and improved new electric workshop. We've got some nice light flooring now and are starting to look a little bit more the part of a company that is ready to start offering electric runabouts. And there goes the bell. So where were we before we got interrupted by the neighbors? So hey, we're trying to get ready to build some boats here and look the part. At the same time, we have some testing to do before we're ready to really release the Delta onto the world. Right now, we had the original prop set up with the new motor and the electric components. And at full speed, 6,000 RPM, we were drawing 72 kilowatts, which is about 95 horsepower, and we were doing about 60 kilometers an hour. Now, this is very much akin to the original power plant at 84 horsepower rated, doing about 55 kilometers in the original format before we converted her. So we can see we might be a little bit heavier, but we're doing a little bit more RPM. We have the power available, and we can do a little bit more kilometers an hour already. We have commissioned our prop to be reworked from a 8x10, which it was, 8 diameter, 10 pitch, to a 8x14, which has been the max that the prop meister was able to bring it to. It's an old bronze prop, and he was able to rework it quite a bit. We're hoping that it'll allow us to put a little bit more power to water. And while we were waiting for that improvement, we also had the rear unit, what we call the huck, which holds the prop shaft in place outside of the boat in front of the rudder. I'll have a couple of pictures of that to illustrate what I mean. The original unit, I think over the years had some damage. We needed to replace the inner lining that holds the shaft, and it was absolutely a part of our electric banjo, as Jack called it, that was giving fishes in the environment headaches. It made us sound like we had an old two-stroke engine in there. And I think the combination of the new prop with the more pitch and the reworked rear holder for the prop should definitely improve our performance and bring us up. Then we have the ultimate prop. Of course, the best prop is the one you get after the next one. We think we can get a max 9 diameter by 17 pitch prop mounted onto this shaft and this setup. That should allow us near 100 kilowatts or 140 horsepower to be transmitted to the water, and we're looking for a final top speed of about 75-80 kilometers an hour. Now, in a tiny boat like this, you can really only do that on a perfect day with perfect conditions, and you can do it for about 30 seconds until you scare yourself. But for bragging rights, we want to see what the most ridiculous thing is we can do with this boat. And since we have 160 horsepower on tap with the HPEVS AC 35x2, we should try and get most of those horsepowers to the water and see what happens. So that's the Delta testing, the new prop, and there is some update on our hopefully soon to be added pressure bearing setup. Got some pictures of that, and after the speed testing, we might be able to install that new unit somewhere late November, early December. We might be a little bit busy by then, hopefully, with our 818, which should be arriving in the EU by next week. So we'll be able to start updating EVTV with what it's like to unbox your 818 and start planning for an electric conversion of the 818. We're kind of running into the fact that since we want to do a road legal conversion instead of a water conversion, we are preparing for EU certification of the car. Luckily, the 818 is the world car. The Subaru parts are readily certified and will easily pass inspection. The electric drivetrain is, of course, of more concern, and it is, in fact, definitely an extra reason to strongly consider using the Siemens and DMOX setup, because I can point to quite a few Ford Transit electrics that are running around, especially in the UK, but also here in Holland. Ford was selling them here before Azure Dynamics went belly up. So we know for sure there's EC and EMC regulations that have already been passed by that setup, which is a great boon as compared currently to the Curtis and HPEVS setup if you want to go towards the road. On the water, it's relatively a free-for-all, so you are pretty much in the clear there. Hey, this is our update for the continuing story of EVTV EU and New Electric here in Amsterdam. We are also trying to get together a large enough shipment to make sense to bring it over from Jack over to the warehouse here. I've definitely got some parts that we need for our projects. There's a few for customers out there, but if you're on the fence, please give us a call because we are just about ready to start trying to fill that container. And let's get the stuff over here and let's get all of us building, because I'll keep building if you keep building, and hope to see you all soon. Take care.
Yeah, that was nice and short. The boat out of water, Anna sitting in there talking to us about a boat.
He
That's
was
pretty
sitting
cool.
on the boat because I think the other two had told him to stay off the new white floor.
Oh, that's right. The new white. It did look a lot better in there.
Yes, he's
They spent some time
dressing
spiffing
the
it up.
place up,
Yeah,
trying
they
to
did.
look like a boat builder.
Yes.
And I would say at this point he are one.
Yes.
He's done very well. I came in late one morning this week. I did have quite a conversation with him on Tuesday afternoon, I think. We've lost our intern,
I know.
James.
Yes.
Robert George Frederick has been recalled to Victoria, Australia,
Yes.
in a negotiated settlement between the Australian government and the United States government. I told him that what he might consider was throwing himself on the embassy steps and demanding political asylum over the whole Vegemite deal, and
Exactly.
see if he could stay. He was a delightful young man.
Absolutely.
I wrote him a glowing
Way to go.
letter of recommendation, and I'm sure he will do fabulously in Australia. But he kind of has a standing position here,
He
as far
does.
as I'm concerned.
Yes.
Well, he's the sort, we'll find something for him to do. whether we
Exactly,
have
it'll be
anything or
fine.
not. And he'll do fine, and we will too. Anyway, thank you, Jamie, for
Yes,
joining
Jamie, way to
us.
go.
What a kid.
Yes. Yeah, really, really cool.
And,
Really enjoyed it.
He apparently is also something of a John Travolta at night. He was
He hit all the
shaking it
clubs. He
down
was
in the clubs here
Yeah,
in Cape,
he
to
was-
the point that they were wanting him to get down with his bad self.
Yeah, we thought we were cool having Ben Affleck and Neil Patrick Harris here, and
He shamed him.
He did. He got down with his bad self.
They were walking past those guys to get to dance with
That's it.
James Robert
That's
Frederick
right.
George. And so, shaking his booty.
He was. That's right. Way to go.
So there's that. I'm just love this little guy out in Rancho Cucamonga. And
Who could that be?
he's driving
Jehu.
down the road in a 21-window Samba bus that he made with a DeWalt grinder.
He did.
And no windows
No,
in
and he
it.
just refused to put windows in.
No paint on it, no windows in it.
Just the windshield, and that's it.
And so he drove it up to Ontario
Oh, yeah, okay.
to meet with Bill and Brian. Brian Seymour had personally tuned his Samba bus,
There you go.
and I call it the video of the talking ankles. See if you can catch why.
Hi guys, so today we are going to install our hydraulic transducer. So we're gonna start here. What do we got? This is we basically got. We got Permatex pneumatic hydraulic sealant. I'm gonna use this so that we won't have any leaks. I got one of these little one of the shortest, about 6-inch long brake lines for the BWs, and then I got these other two 12-inch lines that I need to replace because the previous ones that I had put in my bus, they're too long, so I'm gonna replace those now since I'm gonna be messing with that system. Then I got one of these little T's. These go on the back of the bugs and the buses, and basically a line that comes from on the front of the car comes in through one of these sides here, and then it splits up. It goes to the left rear wheel, and then it goes to the right rear wheel. So I got one of these already installed there. So what we're gonna do is come off of the side with this guy, with the little short one, and then put this guy in here, and then from there it's gonna go to the wheel. So what that is gonna allow us to do is that we're gonna have an open port, and there is where we're gonna install this little hydraulic transducer. Here's what I got. I got a this is 1/8-inch MPT threaded. This is 1/8-inch MPT threads to 10mm threads. So the brake lines are actually 10mm threads. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put that guy in between there, and then the transducer on that guy. The other thing is that I realize is that maybe I'm gonna have a problem sealing this in there, because this little holes here are made for these taper little lines that go in there. So this thing really doesn't have a tapered. I don't know if it's gonna become a problem, but if it does give me a problem sealing there, then what I discovered is that you can actually, here we go, let me see, that 1/8-inch MPT threads actually go in 10mm threads. You get about 2 turns and then it starts getting tight, because the MPTs are actually they are tapered threads. So with the sealant in here, I think I can get a good seal. I'm gonna try it like this also, as I think this will give me a better chance to seal because of the tapered threads on the MPT, on the transducer, and I might just have to forgo this guy. Which, by the way, I ordered this on McMasterCard, and it was expensive. I think it was almost like $50 for this little adapter. 1/8-inch MPT to 10mm threads. I think it was like $50. So I might have to return this guy, because it's just I don't think it's needed, and it's just way too expensive. Anyways. Let's get started.
gonna drive out to HPEVS systems out in Ontario, California. I finished wiring up and installing the hydraulic transducer on my bus. So now it's just programming the controller. And since I don't have a programmer, I'm gonna take it out there with those Bill Ritchie and Brian Seymour, and they're gonna help me out with the controller and programming, just so we can get the Regen set dial in there so that we can have brakes. So here we go. Let's go. Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, he's my neighbor.
Yeah. Good, you?
Good. Let me just start this little panel. The thing is,
so when's all the windows and everything going in?
you know what? Right now, I'm so excited working on the stuff that I haven't, all the mechanical stuff done.
It's got 501 in it?
308.
Oh, it's got 308. Oh, wow.
How do you back out of this?
It's old, right?
Oh yeah, duh. 0.6 is just sitting still. So we'll just we'll do 1 volt. We'll do 0.8 to about 3. Yeah.
How many revisions of the software have you guys done since this one?
A bunch.
Because, it's only been a year since I bought this, right? It's going quick.
We went from 308, then we went to 500, then to 501, then to 511.
512.
Now we're on 512.
Oh, wow.
So, there's been several more complicated versions.
Wow.
Okay, let's go for a ride.
All right, let's take it off here.
Step on the brake. That's going to work. Okay. So what we're going to do is we'll go out on the street and
This is a reverse.
oh, is that your forward reverse?
Yes.
You don't use the transmission?
That's too much work. It's just easier to flip a switch.
Oh, okay. And just leave it in first. So in first gear, okay, now go ahead and just step on the brake. So stop quicker? Hard to tell?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. This.
Okay. Yeah, we just got to make sure that we don't have too much, because if we have too much, you're going to lock up the wheels. Okay. So, let's go ahead and just let's go out here. Go ahead and try it at speed.
Or faster?
Yeah, no, go ahead and just do the brake. How's that feel? Could be more?
Yeah, could be more. I think that's how much I just fixed the brakes last week, that's why they actually work for you.
Good. Will this show negative amperage?
Yeah. 47.
Okay. So let me go ahead and boost it a little bit here. Okay, go ahead and try that.
Yeah, I've never seen it above 100.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go a little bit more. Main thing is you want to try to do it in first gear, because you don't want to have it, if you're in first gear and you step on the brakes and just start skidding, So that's your most torque, is first gear.
Oh, I see. So you set it right where it's...
Right, where it's comfortable in first gear, and then all the other gears will be fine. Yeah, will be less. Yeah, 200.
I can feel it. Yeah, I can feel it start kicking.
Now, how do you like the way the neutral braking is when you just release the accelerator?
I was wondering if we could just kind of taper that down.
A little bit less?
Yeah, so that I can coast, because it really doesn't coast.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of having all the Regen on the brake,
Right.
so that you don't have to think about it while you're driving.
Okay, try that. Just release the pedal.
Oh yeah, now it's supposed to.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, you're going to get less current.
Yeah.
You know. So, but yeah, it'll be more of it'll be on the brake pedal. I like a lot of neutral braking because you can kind of, when you are around town, you don't have to use the brake so much.
Oh yeah.
So, you know,
but then you get into that kind of light, brake light thing, right?
Right.
Yeah, I have a small tail brake light as it is, so I'm like, I'd rather come up every time this thing slows down anyway. So yeah, I think I like that better.
Just double check. Okay, go ahead and just go full pedal to the metal. Oh, this thing gets up and goes pretty good.
Yeah. Press on the pedal quite a bit before it actually starts.
Before it starts to go? Okay,
Yeah.
let's look at that. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, we can help that.
Oh, it's a voltage.
Yeah, it was, what you're running at is you're sitting at like 0.2 volts, is requiring 0.5 before it starts moving. So, see, and it's, yeah, so we just set the deadband. We just turned the deadband down. Okay, let's go drive again. Let's try it.
Reverse.
Is that better? On the pedal?
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
It's right there, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it starts.
And now just go ahead and go forward.
Oh yeah.
It's just right there now.
Yeah, it just seems like before it was, you were wasting.
Let's do this. Okay, let's go drive it again. See how you like the throttle response now.
Oh yeah, it's a lot better. Yeah, it just feels like
it's gonna get out of the hole a lot quicker now. Yeah, it doesn't go through. Yeah. You just go out there and turn.
And the brakes feel like they work.
So what I just did is I decreased the acceleration rate. So right off the line, you're going to get more torque quicker.
Oh, I see. Oh yeah, feel it. It just kind of kicks in. You had it soft really at the beginning.
Yeah, we used to set them, conservative at 1 second. So it would take 1 second to build full torque. Now it's going to build full torque in 0.2 of a second. So you can get current a lot quicker.
Yeah. It did give that little sluggish feel.
Right. Yeah, you should be.
All right. So the HPEVS guys, Brian Seymour. Just tuned up my controller there, set up the hydraulic transducer to apply some Regen when I'm stepping on the brake pedal. And then he also took down the slew rate on the accelerator on the throttle pedal. I guess it had like a 1 second delay before it would apply full power. So it feels like a new car now. It goes it's very responsive. When you step on the gas, it just goes. When you step on the brake, it just stops. This is what I needed now. I can. The car is working a whole lot better now, and I took it out here. This is one of my favorite spots. I like to drive up here. I live by a mountain, the San Bernardino mountain range here, and I usually just come out here. It's kind of nice to see the trees and the mountains and the wilderness and stuff. So it's good. Next week's project is gonna be installing the 60. I got a 60 amp breakers for my panel, and we're gonna be installing those. I'm just waiting for some of the connectors and the boxes and the conduit and stuff that we're gonna have to use to install that. So that's for next week. All right, thank you. I'm up a hill here, and I'm gonna go down the hill on second gear, And we're gonna see if we can actually do some Regen. I have 142 amp hour remaining in my pack. Let's see if we can make that amp counter go up instead of down. All right. So it's gonna be on second gear. It's probably gonna be going around 3,000 RPMs going down the hill. And the more I press on the gas, on the brake, the more Regen's gonna put. So let's do this. $5,500 RPMs. And I'm putting over 100 amps into the pack. I'm doing 38 miles an hour. Oh, and there it is. It went up to 143 amp hours. So it is possible to go up. Almost lost our wheel right here.
Oh man, we love you, Jehu.
During the video, he ran out of cameraman, so he lays the video camera down on the floor, and we've got a perfect shot of Brian's left ankle and Jehu's right as they're tuning the brakes and accelerator.
You gotta love it.
And he did get his brake transducer in.
Yes.
And what a difference it makes. One of the reasons this viewer segment is particularly illustrative is I've preached this over and over. You can build an electric car and it can work fine.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you think it's working fine, and you like the car.
Yep, you're happy.
And you're happy. It feels good. It rolls. It's not quite how they portrayed it on EVTV, but it's pleasant. With just a little bit of tuning and taking away some current limitations from cooling or something like that,
yes.
Brian changed his tack rate on his acceleration from 1 second to 0.2 of a second.
Uh-oh.
Decreased the deadband space on the pedal, and all of a sudden he's got a sports samba.
It's coming to life, yes.
And this puppy's a screamer.
Yeah.
With Regen on the brake now.
Man. Oh, how cool.
And it's completely different bus to drive.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
And he's watching Brian, who's got this little handheld programmer typing in a bunch of numbers. Oh, what's it all mean? Well, step on the accelerator. Here's what it means.
That's what it means. That's right.
And but he got a course in how to do it, and now his little AC50 that he had a year ago and is 5 software versions behind. They updated and showed him how to tune it up, and it goes from being a electrically driven bus that's pleasant to drive to something astounding. Like you have a sensitive pedal, you put your foot on it, and the back wheels are spinning.
It takes off, yes. Yeah.
And what's the difference? The world. And from there, that's the big leap. Now you can go out and change something
right.
every time you drive and not have it right for months.
Right, just continue to fine tune and fiddle with it. Yeah.
I tuned on Speedster Duh, our second Speedster, with an AC50 for 6 months. By the time I got it done, this car felt so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the Japanese bought it from me, and I let them have it. And I'm never going to be okay again.
That's right.
And of course, you and Matt hogged up the first one.
That's right, we hogged it up.
2,000 pounds of damn batteries. And drive from here to California to get on the Supercharger network, but it's a pig.
It's a little tubby.
And then the Ivory one, it was just like balanced. It was tuned like a guitar, man. The steering wheel, the brakes, the accelerator, everything was perfect on it. It was just me. It was just like wearing a car. I wasn't driving. I was flying. And it's gone. They took it away. And then they took it away and complained about it. Couldn't find the car keys and wanted something else changed. Made me build them another one.
Another one.
I'm out of the car building business.
I know.
You can't have my cars. We're just going to stack them up around.
Just going to keep them.
My point being that it is worth the effort to change those confusing and lengthy parameters. The reason they're there is because you can make your car drive better.
Right, yeah.
Somebody builds a product, this is kind of going to be part of the JevQ thing. It's one of the reasons I have to have control of it. There won't be a week go by that we don't, once people are buying them and putting them in cars, that we don't get, if you could just do this.
Right, we're going to get a lot of that. It's just software always has that.
And your user base, when they start using it, they can see how it would be better for them if you would just add this feature, which they can't add.
Right, right.
And so so all these options start springing up.
All these things you can do, yeah.
Pretty soon it gets to be pretty complicated to configure it, but there's a reason. It's because somebody wanted to do each of those things, and so they're on.
Right.
Brian and Bill have kind of rewritten history. They were discouraging us from using that brake transducer.
Yes.
Now, it's true. Actually, they invented it.
Yes. Yes, because it was in there.
They did some work on the green van.
That's right.
Where we stole the part number for
the
original brake transducer.
That is right.
They did that.
Yes, on the Vantage van.
But then, now they're saying maybe we misunderstood them or something about the pressure and blowing them out or something.
That was, I think, part of it. Yeah.
I put 500s in these little cars, 500 PSIs, and we've never blown one.
No, we have never had an issue. Yeah.
But part of it is we never put the brakes on that hard because we've got regenerative
we got nice
braking.
regen, that's right.
So it's kind of a circular thing. But it's a good feel. You can make your brakes feel like power brakes, and you can make them feel like touchy power brakes or barely power brakes, or
you can even coast if you want.
Anything in between.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, so it's a good deal. But again, Jehu is doing a marvelous job of illustrating these things to see. And you can see it's going to be a great build of a car, but it's a little whimsical blowing down the road with the wind blowing through the windows. Of course, in California. Rancho Cucamonga, you got to love them.
Yes.
How's our build coming?
Jamie did a lot of work on the Gia with me, and he's been by himself. So this week, I came inside and set up another set to just talk about what we're doing with the Gia.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And let's show you what we're doing.
See what you got.
All right, so here we are, EVTV, and if you notice, I'm not in front of the Gia this time, but I am going to give you a Gia update. Jamie has flown back, I guess down under is where he must be back in Australia by now. I believe he flew out yesterday out of St. Louis. So we did some work earlier this week, mostly some cleanup work and some additional work on the air conditioning, the location that we showed you of the water bottle for the heating, things like that. You met Mike, who is doing some of the mechanical work with us last week when we did the shift rod installation. So we're just going to have some fun in here, and I've always wanted to set up this shot where you're watching Fox News or CNN or something, and you kind of see the working newsroom behind us. Well, Jeff is going to stand in for us and be our working newsroom in the set and say hi, Jeff. Normally they don't say hi, but they just look all working. So you guys let me know if he doesn't look like he's working during this, and we'll make sure that we do something about that. So let me tell you about some of the things that we have planned. We've got some more parts for our air conditioning in. Space on the dashboard is a little bit confined. We've put in the big bling slap switch on the dashboard. We're going to try to use all of the locations that we can for the holes that are already in the dash. So we're using the stock switches for the headlights. We're using the stock switch for the emergency flashers, stock radio location. I showed you that we had cut out right above the radio at the top of the dash for the 4-button controls for the Vintage air conditioning system, heat and air. So we've been doing some modifications on that. We've got the glove box in. The latch to operate the front hood is operational. The first time you do that, it's always a little bit of a scare, because if you get that thing locked in and it's not adjusted, it's not like a Beetle that has a handle where you can actually cut the handle and unscrew the latch, really, and you can release the hood. The Karmann Ghia doesn't have a handle, so it's a little more interesting to try to open it. If you break that cable, it's tough. So anyway, it's adjusted, it's in. The front end is put together. We had to order some more parts from Karmann Ghia Parts. Basically, some where the sway bar attaches, there are some bushings and clips that hold it on. Ours were in a mess, so we went ahead and just got some. We've replaced a lot of the parts on the Karmann Ghia. New brake rotors, went out and had them turned, but they really couldn't turn them down far enough. They were still pitted. They were serviceable, but for $45, we just got new. We got new ones, so they're on their way. The master cylinder, not a lot to seeing a master cylinder go in, but I don't know. It's been a long time since we've showed you some of the things that we do with the stock Volkswagen master cylinder. So this is a dual circuit master cylinder, and hopefully you're able to see this. So it has, normally it has a brake light switch and a warning switch in both of these positions right here. So these two go to the front of the car, the driver's side front and the passenger side front. This port here, this second circuit, goes back to the rear and then splits off with a couple of brass tees and some hard lines out to the wheels. We use the second circuit, the rear circuit, for our MES brake transducer. So this we will put in. This is 1/4 inch NPT threads here. This is metric, I believe, 10. They're close, but not exactly. So the way we put this in, and I just wanted to show it apart, is we will go ahead and slightly rethread, because we are working with cast iron, but we're also going to not use thread tape on this or gas line tape. We are going to use JB weld, and I've never had these leak, and we've had to do these with in situ before with the Speedster Redux, with the Thing. So when you're working with a nice, clean, brand new master cylinder, you can get a real good seal. And this is just the stock $5 brake switch. So this master cylinder, we're just about ready to go. So we're getting close to putting the pedal assembly in. Let me show you what else we've got to do before we talk about the pedal assembly. And we're in the showroom here, and Jeff is going to have to open the door because it's locked and let Phyllis in, who may or may not have ever been on camera, but our office manager, Phyllis, that keeps us all in line. So while we're doing that, I want to talk about a product that we found that may make the Ghia pedal assembly a little more comfortable, especially for any drivers that wear gigantic walk-on-water Crocs. And I don't want to mention anyone in particular, Jack, but it may make it a little more comfortable. But let me show you at least from the pedal assembly standpoint. And this is the stock VW pedal assembly here. And it really just does sit like this on the floor. It bolts to the tunnel. And we're not going to be using any of the front portion. I may, in fact, cut it off or may not. Thanks. And this is where the little roller goes for the stock throttle, and we'll be using we use our Hall effect Argenic throttles. So everybody's in. So what this company has done, also this cable, before I talk about them, normally you have it's the end of the clutch cable. I should have brought it in, and I'll show you this again. It has a square attachment point. It just fits over this, just hooks onto this. Kind of weenie. It's not exactly the best way. The Volkswagen really missed that one back in the day. So what this company has come up with, they're called unique parts, and they're in California, in Chino, and I believe that Peter McWade had sent us an email letting me know about these parts. What they do is they have a new shaft, and so this shaft actually replaces the stock shaft here. And you can see it's got a much different attaching point. So instead of having to hook it over this, the end of the clutch cable, you actually use this nut and washer, and you just go ahead and nut it on, and it looks a lot more robust to me. Everything is bigger. It looks really cool, and we're going to go ahead and do that assembly. The other thing it did is we decided to buy one. Not the stock length. It's called the Bigfoot. And what it does is it moves this pedal over about maybe, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch to an inch, moves it to the left. So this pedal, when we're done, and we'll show you this when we're done, is going to actually move a little bit and give you some more room between the brake and the clutch pedal. I really do like their design. Also, we took off on the floor of a Volkswagen, right where the pedals are. There is this stopping plate, and it's the stop plate for your brake, and it is not that. When we took it off, I really didn't realize how small, narrow of gauge steel that it was, and you can see over the years of it having to stop the return on that pedal is that they start to wear out. So as part of this kit, this shaft kit from, again, this is the Bigfoot kit, but they also make a standard one from unique parts in Chino, is they give you this really beefed up stop plate. The other one was kind of covered with crud and really wasn't very interesting to look at. But you have to take my word for it. I think this is a pretty good upgrade. So we'll go ahead and put the Bigfoot pedal assembly together. We'll put the master cylinder in. We'll be able to do the brake lines. We'll be able to put the sway bar in. We'll be able to, that must be some news coming in. That's okay, that must be news. I wanted this whole newsroom thing, and we forgot to plan and have a phone ring, so that was perfect. It must be president of maybe Somalia or somebody, I think, is trying to get a hold of us. And as speaking of Somalians, I think the most famous line that was said in the Captain Phillips movie was, we were talking about it the other day, that I'm the captain now, was an unplanned line that the fellow who played the leader of the pirates had come up with himself. They let the cameras roll, and it looks like the most famous line in the movie was ad-libbed by not the leading actor. So that was kind of cool. So I'm the captain now. I wanted to say that as well. So that's the Karmann Ghia update. We've gotten a lot of parts in this week for the air conditioning, brake parts. We've got wheel cylinders. We're rebuilding the calipers for the front discs. New rotors up there. The transmission should be here any day from Rancho Performance Transaxles, again in California, in Fullerton. So we have collected a lot of the parts, and the car is going together quite smoothly at this point. We also ordered a new carpet kit. It was kind of nasty from just the age of the carpet kit and some of the cleanup work that we've had to do. So we opted for a new carpet kit. It will be a little more of a saddle color, kind of what's in the Speedster Redux. I think that'll be a big improvement. The battery box is out right now. You saw that when Jamie was bottom balancing all the cells. That is back at Southeast Fabricating. They are putting the tabs on it that will bolt it down. We also got our 2-inch box aluminum in, so that's cut to fit. So a lot of it is here. This is going to go fairly fast. I mean, I hoped that we would have had it before Jamie left, but we just didn't realize all the amount of work that we needed to do on the car. So that is the Ghia update, and stay tuned to EVTV. So there we go. I have my newsroom look. I always wanted to do that CNN breaking news kind of set, and we did it over here. Yes, exactly.
People walking back and forth.
Yes, that's what we had.
Papers
Yes, that's right. Yeah. We had Jeff walking back. He was back there saying,
"Do I need to put a background from?"
Exactly. Might need one from
Squawk Box or something.
Yeah, that's what we need. Yeah, with the 3 talking heads up there. Yeah, and us like live from Tokyo or something.
Live from CNN.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I'll see what I can put up there.
So we've got a lot of stuff going on with the Ghia. As you can see, we're going to put the new pedals. We got those. Got a nice set of pedals. I think you're going to like for people with excessively large Crocs.
Yes.
So they don't get jammed between the clutch and the brake.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So we showed them that, and we're gonna start to put all that together. But the braking system and a lot of stuff. We've got a lot of parts, air conditioning. So we're moving ahead, and
cool.
Appreciate that you're watching.
Yeah, that's kind of I would rate a complex build because all the environmentals and being a coupe, you got some other considerations
yes.
With the dash and so forth. But good job. I guess that gets me down to Mark EMon, St. Michael's Winery in St. Michael's, Maryland.
Yes.
Mark started a 914. Now this guy's got a growing business.
Oh yeah.
In a very competitive field. And so he can't stop and spend the summer doing an electric car.
Especially when you have a harvest in August and September and things like that.
But this one's going on a little long. He brought the car out for the second EVCon, and it's still working off problems. You were telling me that he drained down his pack and lost a cell or two.
He did. He lost a cell, and the DC converter was on. He's had some issues, and he needed to just upgrade it. His front suspension was sagging, just normal car stuff. So he put some parts on from a 911. He's got some bigger torsion bars. Just a lot of work.
Let's see what kind of walk around we get here.
Yep. Okay.
Hey, it's Mark EMon here with my 914 electric car project. Hey, Jack, Brian, and everybody else in EVTV land. A bunch of stuff going on with the project, so I just wanted to give everybody an update. And I'll tell you all about it. So, a little bit about what's going on with my 914 project. I was hoping that the front suspension could handle the weight of the batteries. I figured with the gas tank out of the car and the spare tire out of the car, that the cumulative additional weight of these 5 sets of 4-pack batteries would be about 165 pounds. And I'd hope it could handle that, but it's turned out, I don't know if you can see this, but over time the front end just got lower and lower and lower, and at this point I can't even get a floor jack underneath it. So I stopped driving the car because I thought I'd be one pothole away from having it just drag on the ground. And I did some research and was going to look for larger torsion bars, but apparently larger torsion bars for the 914, according to Pelican Parts, is completely unobtainium. So what they suggested to do was to get some A-arms and from a 911, which by definition have larger torsion bars, and the 911 torsion bars, they're the same for 19. I think it's '68 through 1984, so a huge swath of cars to pick from, and then they race them, and you know, so a lot of people put in different and larger torsion bars. So here they are. I finally got them. It took me literally 3 months to get these. I guess people like to hold on to their 911s and don't part them out. But 3 months and $500 later, there they are. This one right here needed a new joint, so I got one of those too. And we've yet to put them on the car. But in the ensuing 3 months, my 914 just sat here in the garage. And, you know, like Jack says, I think you really just have to do stuff to learn. And then what I learned was that I wired my DC to DC converter directly up to the soliton, actually, so it's not going through the shunt, so it's not being metered, so that's not good. And secondly, I realized that it's now, at this juncture, that it actually has a jumper between these two that make it permanently on. You can make it switchable, which it needs to be, when the ignition's on, and that's what, I got a relay here, and so that's the project at hand, or one of them, is to put this DC to DC converter so it's switchable. But anyway, in the 3 months the car sat here, that DC to DC converter just, you know, was happily doing its job, and it was pumping in energy into the regular DC battery, and non-stop for months and months and months. And so it did two things. One, it completely fried my DC battery, so that's a new one I have. And two, it drained down the pack. And I was pretty alarmed when I discovered the voltage of the pack. But most of the batteries were pretty good. So like they're down around 2.9. I think this one's 2.6. This battery here, this one's 3.08. So pretty much around the whole pack, numbers like that, in the high 2s or low 3s, except for this one cell right here. Strangely enough, when the load was taken off the batteries, most of them that were reading like, you know, 2.7 or something went back up to 2.9. This one was reading 1.7 when I took the load off the pack, and it went down. So currently it's reading 1.3, I think last I checked it. I could try to put the meter on there, but one, I don't think you can read it on this camera, and two, I'd have to hold the camera in my mouth and put my two hands to put the leads on the terminals, so take my word for it. So we're going to swap out. Luckily, for the design of this car, I had purchased a whole another set of batteries, and there they are over there on the freezer, to go in this space right here where the gas tank used to be. But that's a space reserved for when Jack finally figures out how to do air conditioning. Jack, you have all this space to put the air conditioning in the car, and heat. So what I'm going to do, and I've already bottom balanced those to 2.74 volts, is just swap those four out with these four. Probably use these, what those other ones were used for. I had still have it actually, this little cigarette lighter adapter, and then it goes into an AC adapter, and use it to power credit card machines and whatever at wine festivals. And it works great for that, and I'm pretty sure I can pull this one back from the brink of death and get that one cell to come back up. We'll see. But it's just for emergency backups at festivals, so that'll be fine. But, you know, you live and learn, so essentially I've potentially completely damaged one cell and totally fried my DC battery, and learned that, hey, the DC to DC converter is switchable. You can turn it on and off, and you should. So those are all lessons learned from my 914 project. So we'll hopefully get those new A-arms in there, and that'll take care of the car riding so low, and get all my pack properly bottom balanced, and we should be good to go. So here's the poor man version of Jack's battery lab. this is the cluster of 4 cells that I'm going to replace that one cluster that has the bad cell that has, 1.3 volts. But this is a healthy, happy pack that I've never done anything with. Or as Jack would say, just stored it away with no special attention, and no temperature control, no nothing. And it was giving me 13.31 volts for all 4 cells. And so I need to take those down close to 2.9 or something, so I can then bottom balance them. So I have cells wired up to a cigarette lighter threesome pack, and then a DC to AC converter, and then a trusty good old inefficient 100-watt lamp. And so I'll be taking my time getting these down close to the rest of the pack, so I can bottom balance them with everything. So here's my wife's plug-in Prius, which replaces that beautiful BMW that I was going to convert, but she got tired of waiting. So we have the plug-in Prius, which is really a beautiful car, really delightful to drive, and performs really well. I wish it had a bigger traction pack than it does, but that's what you got. What you get, maybe in the future. Here's my poor man's version of Jack's battery lab after I took down this pack of 4, hoping they'd all arrive at the bottom at the same time, but of course they don't. So cell 1, 2, and 4 are at about 2.83 volts. Cell 3 here is at 3.32 volts to start with. So we have a long or 12-foot extension cables to the power lab, which I bought from Jack and Brian, and have it connected to the 12-volt battery on the 914. And I just wanted to leech off some of the power that the power lab is dumping into the 12-volt, and there's a long story about that. So I have that connected back to the DC to AC converter, DC to 3 cigarette lighter converter, and a DC to AC converter, and a basic lamp. And so that's what's going on right now. I'm trying to leech down that .32 or whatever it was volt cell back down to join its brothers at 2.83. So that's what we're doing. And then we got to get to the other 50-some batteries who are about 2.9 volts. Get them all happy at 2.8, 2.83, and then we should be good to go to charge them all up. There you go. So I got the Power Lab 8 going, and just in case I start to build up too much of a charge in my new 12-volt DC battery, I have this DC to AC converter hanging off here, and it's got a little fan running, so it's pulling a little bit of energy. But if I really need to dump some energy, I can just do that. So, like I said, kind of rookie league compared to Jack's setup. And I put on 12-foot extensions on the cables they provide. I checked with them. They said this would be fine. So I can leave the power lab back there in the back of the car and reach up here to all the batteries. So currently pulling them down. I set it for 2.7 volts, and it seems like when they settle to around 2.73, which is fine with me if they all do the same thing. The one thing is, with these GVS batteries, is they have the poles on opposite ends. You know, one pole on this end, one pole on that end. So to get to them is easy in the front, the way they're arranged in the front and also in the rear trunk. But these suckers here in the middle of the car, I'm having to take them apart. And luckily I put a strap on the middle battery, so I'm going to have to pull all these out so I can get to both ends of them to bottom balance them. So that's the project currently underway. So we can get this whole pack bottom balanced that I didn't do in the first place. And put it back together and charge it up. Got the, like I said, a brand new 12-volt battery over there, and then realized, you know, we're going to put a switch, put a relay in for the to turn on and off the DC to DC converter when the ignition is turned on and or off. So all that's going to happen, and then this sucker will be back on the road. Oh, the main thing is, got 911A arms, which come standard with 19 millimeter torsion bars, whereas the 914 has 17 millimeter torsion bars. And these are rumored to bolt right into the car, and hopefully the 19 millimeter torsion bars will do the trick. If they don't, it's a lot easier to get bigger torsion bars for 911s, since there's a bazillion of them and people race them and all that. Where in the 914s, I've been told that the bigger torsion bars are unobtainium. So there you go. Here's my little rookie setup, but seems to be working well. I've already got all those the battery bank that's on top of the freezer over there, all of them down to 2.73 volts. And we'll get the rest of the 52. Okay, we're approaching a critical moment in any EV owner's life. We are on the last of 56 batteries and 3 days worth of work to bottom balance to 2.7, but they pretty instantly bounce back up to about 2.73 or 2.74. Is where we're all wind up. But that's pretty good. That's the last battery. Notice my very stylish shop light and a beverage. Gotta have a beverage. And those, like I said, 12-foot extensions I put on the PowerLab 8. So I could leave the PowerLab 8 back here hooked up to the 12-volt battery with its short little cables, and then just have those 12-foot extensions so I can essentially run the discharge to where the batteries are without moving them. Like I said, these GVS batteries have the terminals on both sides, so some of them proved a challenge to get to. There we are at 2.71. So any second now we'll get the welcomed deep, meaning that it's done. And then we'll charge up this pack and never have to do this again. Back here to the back of the car. Got everything cleaned up, and all these batteries have these little caps that come on them, which are kind of cool. They're purple. That just covers up any of the connections. And we're just waiting for the deep. Should happen any second now, because they go pretty quick once they get down here. Oh, it is. 2.7 on my meter.
Of what?
Hey, Chilean.
What are you doing?
Filming you, if you would stop walking around.
Why are you filming me? Stop it.
I'm gonna put something on EVTV about this car, and I'm bottom balancing the final cell out of 56 cells. So any second, that thing that's back there
Will
go deet, deet, deet.
and beat the heck out of our ears?
Not the heck, just a really pleasant deet, deet, deet. Any
What's
second
with
now.
the dog? Is
I
that
don't know.
Hector?
That's Mommy's lamp out of her office. Isn't that funny? I'm using it for a shop light.
Is that Hector? Something? That looks like Hector.
It does.
Excuse me? Daddy's filming something. Daddy's filming something up on YouTube about the car.
Come on, Power Lab. Any second now. It's a waiting game. But while we're waiting, there's my wife's lovely new plug-in Prius that she really, really loves. And it's got something we're all familiar with. J1772 connection. And you hear it makes that funny sound like the Starship Enterprise. Oh, there it is. That's the completely fake sound. Dut, dut, dut. Finally at last. I don't think you can read it. But it says done.
Drum roll, please! There were full of tomatoes walking on the sidewalk. Remember, one of the little ones was behind. So the mother said, "Catch up!"
Okay, so here's the 914 with the low riding front end. It's all charged up. All the batteries are bottom balanced. Let's see what we got going on. Hope you can read this in the video. Looks like we got 179.4 amp hours, which I was kind of hoping for more. They're 200 amp hour cells. Let's switch over here and see the voltage. I charged it to 200 volts, and it settled back down to 192.8. I'll have to do the math, but I think that divided by 56 is around 3.56 volts per cell. But anyway, interesting story. I took the 914. We had a really severe thunderstorm the other night, and of course after my child and wife were asleep at, of course, midnight or so, when the car was done charging, I took it for a spin around the next neighborhood over, and I got halfway around the loop, and I started smelling extreme electrical fire. I mean, I was sure that the car was on fire, something fierce. And so I was just trying to get home, and I kept being amazed that the car was still running. And I finally rounded the last bend in that neighborhood to come upon two electrical service trucks that were replacing a transformer which had exploded in the storm. And the whole place was just reeked of smoke. But luckily not this guy. So there she is. I have still these A-arms to put on. So now she's all up and running. I can take it to the local mechanical shop and have them put those on, and hopefully get that front end back up where she belongs. Still have to weatherproof the engine compartment, so that's yet to be done. It's an air-cooled motor before, so it has vents, which are not really happy for electronical things. But there you go. That's one of the projects, and the tachometer still doesn't work, and you know, it's a 40-year-old car. Ongoing things. Okay. Update you after it gets back from the shop. So I've been charging the car with this pigtail that goes from a twist lock to a regular Edison 110 from my charger, and on the 110 circuit set to about 18 amps or 19 amps. Let's just face it, it took a long time to charge after the bottom balance. I think 22 hours or so is not exaggerating. So tomorrow morning I'm having an electrician come and put in a 30 amp 220 plug right here, and handily, this is right at the back of my garage, so don't have to run much cable or anything, and I could just back the car in and plug it in there. I already have the Manzanita that can do 30 amps 220, so that should cut down the charging time significantly. And like I said, tomorrow morning he'll put that plug in and we'll be good to go. I did have a couple problems today operating the car, in that I had to turn the ignition on several times, and when I put the computer on it later, it said is throwing errors of not sufficient voltage, not 12 volts, which is weird because this, like I said, this is an absolutely brand new 12 volt battery, and I tested it and it was reading 12.38, I think. So I don't know what's up with that. Of course, once the computer was on it, I turned it on and off 5 times and it couldn't get it to reproduce it. But isn't that just the way with cars? All right, more to come. Like I said, the next plan is to take it off to the shop to get those A-arms put on it, and hopefully the sagging front end back up where it needs to be. And we can run around and see why the lack of 12 volts is happening. All right, talk to you later. Okay, here she is, all back from the shop with the new 911 A-arms and torsion bars riding at the proper height. Driven around a bit, and we'll see if that those new torsion bars are enough for the additional, I think it's about 160 pounds of weight in the front. And as with all things, when you're converting an old VW or some old car, the problem with the electric car is not the electric part of the car, it is the 40-year-old car part of the car. So I have a new 12 volt battery in here, and it keeps draining down. Now why is that? Well, somewhere in the system of the 40-year-old car is a leak to ground, and I got a clue one day. I put in this switch, which I don't know if you can see in this light, but you spin this little thing and it turns it connects the negative side of the battery back to the car. And they make these for a reason, I guess, for vintage cars that you store for a long time that you don't want to have the battery attached to the car because the car will suck the battery dry. And I put that in, and a really curious thing happened. In addition to the regular pole on the battery, there's another pole there where I had a couple of things. One, the DC to DC converter, and two, a lead to the soliton. And the third thing is a little teeny wire that goes to this additional LED brake light that I put on the back of the car. this car being so low and not having that additional brake light in the back where most modern cars do. So a very curious thing happened when I disconnect the main negative pole by spinning this little guy right here, but have this one little negative lead to this little teeny wire that is the negative of the LED light. Look what happens when I connect that circuit. Voila! The light turns on. Isn't that weird? So the only path to negative for the brake lights. Now, this brake light, of course, is connected in the rear to the brake lights. One of these wires get connected right there to the brake lights. So, clearly there's a path of completed circuit with the brakes not on, enough to power an LED, but not the old-fashioned incandescent lights. So, an ongoing saga. I've ordered a new brake light switch from Pelican Parts, and hopefully when I put that in, it'll stop this phenomenon and end the endless drain on the 12-volt battery. So it's just funny. This, most of the time I find that I'm working on the 40-year-old car and hardly any time working on the electric car. All right, we'll see.
Been at it. Way to go. Like, you know,
kind of vaguely agreeing with me that bottom balancing would be a good thing.
Yes, Power Lab
and
8.
actually doing the work to bottom balance a pack of that size.
Yes, that's a lot of work.
Sort of two different things, aren't
Yeah,
they?
it is. It's a lot of work.
Maybe later, huh?
Yeah, that's right. I'll do it next year.
Your batteries, Mark, we got more. We can sell you some
Right.
more.
We got a whole bunch of them.
I can get you all the batteries you need, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. Amp hours galore.
You don't want to bottom balance them? It's not a problem for me. I know a guy that brings a boat all the way from China.
That's right.
Ka-ching. We can take care of you, buddy.
That's right. You gotta love you, Mark.
I've been there, buddy.
Yes.
That's why we know.
That's right. We've had to eat a few cells and bottom balance after that.
You remember when I was trying to do Rich Redmond's top balance trick?
Yes.
I go drive the gym and come back, and there's two more totally destroyed cells.
Ruined cells. Yes, exactly.
So I'd put, like an idiot, right? I'd put, it's like a monkey with an electric car. I'd put two brand new cells in. Get them all up. I mean, top balance at exactly 4.000. Go drive again and come back and lose another cup.
Burn up another cell or two.
And this went on a week. And I finally, that was when the Redwood Sticks.
Yeah, with the Redwood Sticks episode.
Thing, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. And that was when I knew this is the dumbest idea in the world. Who cares what they're doing when you're charging them?
Right.
How about when you're driving them and they're going up in smoke? That's the end I'm worried about.
That's right. Unless you're selling batteries.
Unless you're selling batteries. Yeah. And so that was the genesis of if he thinks we should top balance them and that destroys cells, what if we do the opposite?
Go 180
Let's
degrees.
balance them at the bottom. And I did that and charged it up, and it charged fine. And went and drove them until it wouldn't move, and put a thing on the charger, and every cell came back up.
Yeah. Yep. That's what happens when you bottom balance.
It's we didn't come to this by thinking it through really, really carefully.
No. That would have been, just do it and see what
I've
happens.
got 200 videos up there. Go watch them. It's all public record,
It
guys.
is all the stuff we've done wrong.
The first ass clowns were right here.
That's right. Ground zero.
Jamie reminded me it looks like 3 monkeys trying to fuck a football on a wax tile floor.
Oh, that's some of our things we
I
missed.
guess I should be affronted, but I was charmed that he said it really does look like that.
It does look like that's right.
Okay.
We're making sausage.
Hang with us, Mark. I gotta believe you're gonna like that car, even if it's another couple years before you
Before
finish
it's
it.
done. That's right. Just keep coming to HEVCon.
Keep doing it to it. I'm hanging here. I got batteries that are just coming any minute. The new NMC cells.
That's right. Yeah.
I've got solar cells shipping Monday.
Oh, okay. Good.
And we're actually picking those up, aren't we? UPS?
I need to check.
Yes.
Okay.
And,
now that we know they're there, okay.
Well, Monday they're supposed to be
Okay.
there.
Okay.
So we'll have to coordinate that. But I have some connectors in for the solar
I saw
cells.
those. Yeah.
And so we'll not only be able to sell the panels, you'll actually be able to hook them up and do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
So that's coming. We're working furiously. I have ordered 30 Jev Q4s to
Yes.
be built.
Yes.
The revolutionaries tried to corner the market on some of the components. They don't really realize it's a global market.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. Yeah.
We've got all of them. It's fine. No, you can't shut us down, Ed. We've even found the enclosures, I understand.
We have located the enclosures.
So we're charging ahead. I'm still trying to get Jev Q3 to work with the web. Paulo has.
Yes.
I'm the last turkey in at the Thanksgiving Day parade. And,
Bringing up the rear, huh?
Yeah, bringing up the rear. And but we'll get it worked out. I want to be able to type stuff to this and get a response, see it myself.
Sure.
So I'm writing a little terminal program just to talk to it.
Make it work. Oh, sure.
And
Good.
so a little segue there off the beaten path. But we're going to have them. They're going to be beautiful. It's all, the car drives now. The thing works fine. We're down to how you configure it and
Right.
little niceties that probably in our fork we're going to lose about half of the code. I
Okay.
don't really need a lot of Bruce's stuff right now. And so, there's going to be, but the software is soft.
Yes.
It's squishy. Problems coming up with the hardware, and it's not an inexpensive device, particularly 30 of them at a time.
Exactly. Yep.
But we're going to be there, and it's going to work fine. I've already got people telling our viewers that we're not going to make it, and they won't be able to run their motors. This is like from EV West and, some would-be, wannabe competitors. They think they're competing with us. We're in components for these guys. It's because you all were doing such a wretched job of it, you were stealing their money.
Some of them were.
I kept having guys that were like ordering stuff and not getting it for 8 months. Brandon Hollinger sends off his since the guy has transmission, a very rare device actually, and the money, and gets back his adapter plate 9 months later.
That's a little
What's
absurd.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what was going on out there. Our viewers made me get them components so they wouldn't get skinned by mountebanks. And so it's kind of a slimy world, but I'm going to maintain a positive attitude. They're all gentlemen and scholars, all, and I love all of them.
We love all of them. Love all of you.
That's right. Anybody dedicated to the cause is a good guy.
That's it.
You want to stay with us and
See you next week.
music.
There we go. All right.
Indiana Moore is killing our mobile distribution.
Something's happened. Do we owe any royalties?
Yeah. Well,